Welcome in. We are just thrilled you're joining us for today's deep dive.
Yeah, really glad to be here.
If you are, the kind of person we like to call the learner, someone who is just insanely curious about how the future is being built right now, this is absolutely the perfect topic for you.
Oh, without a doubt. The material we're covering today is, well, it's foundational.
It really is. We are looking at a stack of recent scientific reports from 2025 and 2026. We've got data from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, updates from top AI labs, and some really groundbreaking journal publications.
And all of these sources are pointing to a massive coordinated shift in how we handle global food security.
Exactly. So the mission for our deep dive today is to look at how Chinese scientists are pairing one of the most ancient pillars of human agriculture, which is rice, with the absolute bleeding edge of artificial intelligence.
They are completely reconstructing seed breeding from the ground up.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand the scale of what they are doing, we first have to look at the problem.
Right. And the context here is just staggering. I mean, rice is the staple for over half the world's population.
Over half.
Yeah. And China is the biggest producer and consumer. They have nearly 1.4 billion people to feed.
Which is a demographic reality that's colliding head-on with a huge environmental crisis.
Exactly. You add in climate change,
Yeah.
aggressive weather volatility, and soils that are just severely degraded. The stakes are impossibly high.
And the traditional way of dealing with this, the old way of breeding, is just, it's way too slow.
It's a brutal timeline. If you use traditional agricultural breeding to create a new, resilient variety of rice, it typically takes 8 to 10 years.
10 years.
Up to 10 years. And you're looking at maybe 20 generations of trial and error right there in the dirt.
The source material uses this perfect analogy for it. They say traditional breeding is like playing chess blindfolded.
That's exactly what it is.
You're just hoping you make the right moves over an entire decade. You cross two lines of rice, and you can't see the genetic board. You're just looking at the plant and guessing.
And if a cross doesn't produce the trait you want, like drought resistance, well, you've just lost a whole year.
Which brings us to the AI paradigm shift. Because we just don't have a decade to wait anymore.
We don't. The environmental baselines are shifting way too fast. So AI essentially acts as this supercomputer teammate. It takes the blindfold off.
Right.
By integrating machine learning, they are cutting the entire process down by 50%.
That's huge.
They're going from 20 generations down to just 5.
Yeah.
And compressing a 10-year process into just 3 or 4 years.
Which completely changes the game. If a new soil disease pops up in 2026, we don't have to wait until 2036 to fix it.
We could have a viable seed ready by 2029.
But to actually do this in the real world, you need a completely new kind of infrastructure. And the reports detail this amazing transformation in Hainan. They're calling it China's agricultural Silicon Valley.
Yeah, Hainan is where the theoretical AI models actually hit the physical dirt. Because to train these AI systems, you need massive amounts of data.
And gathering that manually is just a nightmare.
Right? It's labor-intensive and full of errors.
Yeah.
So they solved this in Hainan by turning the fields into something that looks more like a data center.
It's wild. You've got swarms of drones mapping the fields, ground sensors checking the soil chemistry.
And advanced computer vision systems. They are capturing plant traits, what we call phenotypes, in real time.
Things like plant height when they flower, the yield.
Exactly. The tech is taking this chaotic outdoor rice paddy and turning it into a clean, machine-readable data set.
And this data is helping them solve some really stubborn problems. There was this one specific hurdle in the 2025 data that stood out to me. Unsynchronized flowering.
Ah, yes, that's a classic bottleneck in hybrid rice.
Because if you want to create a hybrid, the two parent plants have to bloom at the exact same time, right?
Precisely. If one line flowers even a day or two before the other, the cross-pollination fails. The whole cycle is ruined.
So how does AI fix that?
Well, historically, breeders just relied on intuition. But now they've trained AI models on millions of photos of rice flowers. These models can detect floral opening with millimeter precision.
Millimeter precision.
Yes, they detect the microscopic changes and predict exactly when that flower will open.
And then, and this is the part I just geek out over, they don't even send humans in to do the actual crossing.
No, they don't.
They are using autonomous pollinator robots, AI-guided rovers driving through the paddies doing the precise hybridization exactly when the AI tells them to.
What's fascinating here is how this moves farming away from intuition and turns it into highly predictable data-driven science. We are replacing human reaction time with deterministic engineering.
The hardware is incredible, but the actual brains behind this operation are what the 2024 and 2025 data really focus on. specifically a model called Fengding.
Also known as seed LM in some of the literature.
Right, seed LLM. So we all know about large language models, right? The AI that predicts the next word in a sentence. Fengdang is basically an LLM, but for seed design.
It's a profound leap. Instead of words, Fengding treats DNA like a language. It learns the rules of how specific gene combinations create physical traits.
And it does this through something called multi-omics analysis.
Right. It's looking at genomics, which is hard-coded DNA,
Hmm?
then transcriptonics, which is how the plant actually expresses those genes in real time.
Like turning on a defense mechanism when there's a drought.
Exactly. And it also looks at phenomics, the physical traits. Fengdang analyzes all of this simultaneously to predict the absolute best genetic combinations.
And the tech is moving so fast. By 2025, they introduced the Fengdang gene scientist,
Which is an autonomous AI agent.
an agent that actually discovers new gene functions on its own. It's finding the pathways that regulate plant hormones or control photosynthesis.
And the real magic is that it validates these discoveries in a simulation first, a digital twin.
So before anyone even touches the soil, the AI runs millions of genetic combinations through simulated droughts and diseases,
It filters out the bad ideas in a computer rather than wasting a year in a real field.
which saves a massive amount of time and money. They are cutting field trials from thousands of plants down to just dozens.
It's a completely unprecedented level of efficiency.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting because all these simulations are just theory until you plant them, but the real world results are already here. They're calling this breeding 4.0 or 5.0.
The proof is in the ground. The December 2025 report from the Chinese Academy of Sciences highlights the Zonkifa series.
Which are entirely precision-designed varieties.
Yes, and they're already among the top 5 conventional varieties grown.
The one they really highlighted was Zonkifa 5. They engineered it for this incredibly harsh environment in northeastern China where the soil is highly saline alkaline.
Which normally just destroys root growth and ruins the yield.
But Zonkifa 5 is yielding 20% more in those exact harsh soils.
Because the AI mapped the specific gene pathways that handle salt stress without sacrificing the yield. It's doing more with less.
And speaking of doing more with less, we have to talk about the OscarAI-19 gene.
Oh, that is a massive breakthrough.
It really is. The source material shows that optimizing this one gene allows the rice plant to maintain stable yields while using 20 to 30% less nitrogen fertilizer.
Which is a game changer.
Uh,
Synthetic nitrogen is terrible for the environment. The runoff causes severe ecological damage. By optimizing OscarAI-19, the plant just becomes hyper-efficient at absorbing nitrogen.
So you lower costs for the farmer and you reduce the pollution. It's a win-win. But it's not just about surviving bad soil or using less fertilizer. The AI is also designing rice for commercial appeal.
Right, what they call the intelligent creation of intelligent varieties.
They are actually optimizing the texture, reducing the chalkiness, and improving the commercial value.
It's designing exactly what the market wants to eat.
And there's this other concept in the 2026 data that honestly blew my mind, de novo domestication.
Oh, the wild rice reprogramming.
Yes, basically using AI to rapidly domesticate wild rice.
Wild rice has amazing natural defenses against extreme weather, but you can't harvest it commercially because the seeds shatter and fall off too easily.
And normally, breeding those bad traits out would take thousands of years.
But the AI just identifies the exact genetic switch for seed shattering.
Hmm.
Breeders use targeted gene editing to flip that switch, and suddenly you have a tough wild plant turned into a commercial crop.
In just a few years instead of millennia. So what does this all mean for the rest of the world? Obviously, this is centered in China right now.
But it's not staying isolated. That's a key point in the reports.
Right, they are already sharing this tech.
Models like Fengdang are being shared with India, and they formed partnerships with the International Rice Research Institute, or IRI.
Which is great, but as the source material points out, it also brings up some major structural issues.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, there are huge hurdles remaining. The IP challenges alone are massive.
Yeah, ethics and inequality. Who actually controls these genetic designs?
Exactly. To build a predictive model for a region, you need their localized genetic data. But that data is a highly valuable asset. If an AI model in one country optimizes a wild strain from another country, who owns the rights to that superseed?
It's a legal minefield. And then there's the infrastructure gap. Getting this tech to work requires precision irrigation and sensors.
Which small-scale farmers don't always have.
Right.
Translating this massive tech leap into the hands of smallholder farmers requires heavy, heavy investment.
And the AI itself has a vulnerability, climate unpredictability.
Right. Machine learning relies on historical data.
But climate change is creating extreme scenarios that we've never seen before. Heat domes, weird drought cycles. If the AI is trained on 20th century weather, it might struggle to simulate a totally novel climate event.
Which is why the human element is still so critical. Breeders are not obsolete here.
The AI is just the engine, right?
Exactly. The human is the architect. An algorithm doesn't know if society needs better texture or more drought resistance. Human creativity and agronomic expertise are still required to set the ultimate goal. The AI just finds the fastest genetic path to get there.
It's a complete paradigm shift. We've gone from a decade of blindfolded guesswork in the dirt to a 3-year sprint of AI-simulated superseeds. We are literally transforming agriculture into a programmable science.
It's a total revolution.
And it matters to you, the listener, because the next time you sit down to eat, whether you're having some sushi or a big bowl of curry, the very grain on your plate is going through this invisible, high-tech revolution just to ensure we can keep feeding a warming world.
It really is a remarkable achievement. But it does leave us with a critical question about the long-term structure of all this. If we are effectively turning agriculture into a programmable, science-treating crop genetics like software code that we update to patch bugs like drought or pests, what happens if our reliance on a few master AI algorithms creates a monoculture of design? Could an algorithmic blind spot inadvertently design a vulnerability into the global food supply that we won't see until it's already planted worldwide?
That is an incredibly profound thought to leave on. Thank you to you, the listener, for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep learning. We will catch you on the next one.